And you know the sun's sitting fast, just like they say nothing good ever lasts. Go on now and kiss it goodbye, but hold on to your love because your heart's bound to die. Go on now and say goodbye to our town, to our town. Can't you see the sun sitting down on our town, on our town? Good night. Now I sit on the porch, watch lightning bugs fly. I can't see too good, I got tears in my eyes. I'm leaving tomorrow, but I don't wanna go. I love you, my town, you'll always live in my soul. And you know the sun's sitting fast, and just like you say, nothing good ever lasts. Go on now and kiss it goodbye, but hold on to your love because your heart's bound to die. Go on now and say goodbye to our town, to our town. Can't you see the sun sitting down on our town, on our town? Good night.
Good evening and welcome to this Week in Review. Tonight's stories include provincial job creation projects, the Grade 8 language plays, the Town Council report. These stories plus community events, the BBS Playbill, Off the Rack, and more coming up after this.
Hey, Travis.
Get some friends, loser.
Bro, you alright, man?
Yeah.
Let me up you, huh?
Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll
See you around?
be your friend.
Yeah.
Character.
I'll help you
Pass it on.
carry on.
A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
It won't be long.
There are currently 4 provincial job creation projects around town. All funds for these projects came from the provincial job creation. We told you about the Grand Search and Rescue project on last week's broadcast. The Recreation Commission has hired 2 individuals for 16 weeks to make and maintain an ice surface on the ball field for general skating and minor hockey. The Recreation Commission felt it was very important to try to maintain some of the skating season rather than not have any at all due to the construction ongoing at the rink. As you can see, the workers have started the ice service. Those who use snowmobiles are asked to please stay off the ball field. While we were taking a look at the ice surface, we noticed that work at the arena was coming along just fine. They are in the process of erecting the steel siding. We also visited the Burgeo Fire Department project. 4 workers have been hired for 10 weeks to construct an 18 by 30 extension to the old chlorine house. Some time ago, the fire department acquired this property to use it as a smokehouse during their fire drill exercises. The first week of work on this project created a few problems for the workers due to the weather conditions. They lost about a day and a half of work. The first few days were spent shoveling snow and cutting alders around the building. Into the second week, the workers are making good progress. The sides of the building are up. The floor was already there, which was helpful to the workers. There will be a window in this area. This window will be removed to make way for a door. Another door will be here. As you can see, some progress has been made on the roof. We hope the weather forecast is favorable for the crew to get the roof on quickly. The Tourism Committee also has a job creation project up and running. 2 workers have been hired to do signs to put up in some of the historical sites around town. We will bring you more in next week's broadcast. On Tuesday of this week, the Grade 8 students held their annual language plays presentation. The grade 8 class invited parents, grandparents, friends, and other relatives to the school gym on Tuesday to watch them put off their plays. This is a part of the students' language course. Just before Christmas, Mrs. Pink gave the students 10 short stories to read. There they had to decide which stories they would like to turn into a play. This way, the students choose which group they were in. The next step was for the groups to write up the stories into play. Mrs. Pink then checked the plays and the students got busy deciding what props they would need, who was going to do the parts, learn their lines, and come up with the costumes. All the props were made at home in the students' spare time. The presentations got underway with the first of 4 plays. Alicia Ann, Jonathan Green, Christopher Domine, and Danielle Strickland presented their play, Udo McFiggin's Christmas. This play was about a young man who learns the true meaning of Christmas is not what we receive, but the spirit of giving. Telltale Art with Gabrielle Pink, Jennifer Green, Justin Coley, and Cody Randall was about a woman who kept seeing an eye watching her. She kills the old man she is taking care of. After the second play, there was a short intermission. The students had prepared a light lunch with tea and coffee for their guests. Number 3 play was entitled After 20 Years, with Shelley Janes, Nikki Porter, Matthew McDonald, and Shane Krant. This story was about 2 friends who made a promise to meet in the same place 20 years from this meeting. The young girl wanted to work in a store and work with a cash register. It turns out that she robbed a bank, and her friend she was supposed to meet was a police officer, and he set her up to be caught. The Sniper with Nolan Short, Jennifer Ingram, Thomas Power, Travis Bond, and Jake Anderson was set in war-torn Ireland. 2 snipers had taken up position on rooftops. One of the snipers shoots the other, and to his dismay, he discovers he just killed his brother. This performance is worth 12% of their final grade. They will be graded on individual and group participation. Individually, they will be graded by the loudness of their voice and how well they knew their lines. The groups will be graded by content of the play, costumes, use of props, and set designs. The students did a great job with their plays. We hope Mrs. Pink will give them all a good grade. Stay tuned for more of this Week in Review coming up after this.
We live in a special place, made special by natural beauty and our native wildlife. Like the endangered Newfoundland marten. The Newfoundland marten lives on the edge of extinction. To protect our native species, we must respect their habitat, their homes. But they live where we live.
The Red Cross has issued a public service announcement with tips on how to get prepared for winter. Winter has arrived in Atlantic Canada, and already we have been faced with snowstorms. It is important to be prepared both at home and when you travel. The Canadian Red Cross encourages everyone to take a few minutes to ensure that they will have all the items they need in case of an emergency. Winter storms can cause power outages or strand people in their homes for a number of days. Because of the low temperatures in the winter, it is critical to be prepared ahead of time to ensure the safety and well-being of you and your family. Here are some things you should keep in mind. Keep an important information of each family member, such as name, date of birth, diseases, allergies, medication, along with the name and telephone numbers of the family doctor. Draw up a list of important municipal telephone numbers, the police station, fire station, and poison control, etc. This list should be posted next to every phone in your home. Always have a Red Cross first aid kit on hand. Store it in a dry place and replace used or expired items on a regular basis. Draw up an evacuation plan for your home in the event of a fire. Keep emergency provisions for at least 72 hours, drinking water, canned food, dried food, batteries, etc., in the event of a power outage or any other disaster. Always keep in mind any special needs for your family. Ensure that you have the items like medications on hand. If you have pets, be sure to have enough food and water on hand for them too. Many of us cannot wait for the lakes and rivers to freeze and the snow to fall so we can enjoy our favorite winter activities. Now is the time to get prepared so that you and your family can enjoy your favorite outdoor activities safely. Check all equipment to ensure that it is in good shape and repair. Be sure to check the weather forecast before you go out. If you're going to be traveling either by car or ATV or snowmobile, let someone know where you're going and when you're expected to return. Check ice conditions before venturing onto any ice. Be sure you are dressed appropriately for the weather. Dressing in layers is always a good idea. Know about frostbite and hypothermia, how to recognize the symptoms and how to treat them. Always play in safe areas that are designated for your activities. Don't play near busy roads or power lines. In the event of emergency, your best protection is to be well prepared. We all too often forget safety supplies for the car when we travel. Your emergency kit should contain some of the following items: a scraper or snow brush, a shovel, sand or kitty litter, blanket, candles, matches, flares or warning lights, flashlight and batteries, gas line deicer, spare clothing and shoes, eye energy food, bottled water, booster cables, first aid kit, road maps, fire extinguisher, and a tow rope. Be sure that your gas tank is always at least half full and that you have enough windshield washer fluid. It is a good idea to keep the first aid kit in your car and learn how to use it. For more information on safety tips, contact the Canadian Red Cross at 1-877-356-3226. Now over to Mayor Ann with the council report.
Good evening. Burgeo Town Council, we held our regular meeting on January the 21st. We had 6 members in attendance, so we had a full house. A fairly short meeting, and I've got a fairly short report for you this evening. If it wasn't for the by-election, which is to be held, I don't think I would have given the report this evening. Anyway, first I'll deal with the water treatment plant. It was our wish that would have been on stream by this time. However, that didn't work out that way. We had correspondence from the engineers to the effect that the compressors required modifications. Apparently these compressors have been used on other systems. However, there's some problem develops after so much use, and therefore modifications had to be done with both compressors. The man from Atlas Copco has been in Burgeo, and he has modified the compressors, so that part of the work has been completed. We have been advised that the person from the manufacturer will be in Burgeo the week of February the 2nd. He should arrive, and the commissioning of the system will begin. So that's the date, that's the present tentative date for startup of the water system, which will be the week of February the 2nd. So hopefully that it will come on stream and things will be fine. Another matter of interest which he expressed to us was passed on to the town manager, was to have installed a set of telephone lines that will key into the computer in Montreal. And what that gives us is that the DuraPro, the suppliers of the equipment, will then be able to troubleshoot the equipment from Montreal. Will be able to do some repairs directly from Montreal, and if not, they will be able to check and pass on information so that repairs can be done here in Burgeo. So you know, that's it's good to know that we'll be plugged in to the suppliers of the equipment even after the job is finished. With regard to the by-election, council have decided that there will be a by-election to fill the vacant position on council. Nominations will be on March the 8th. That's Monday, March the 8th. And if there is some people come forward and there's need for an election, the election will be on March the 29th. You know, I can't encourage you too much to stop and think about coming forward and offering yourself for council. It sends a very poor message to the provincial government when we as a council have got to write the Department of Municipal Affairs and advise them that we are unable to fill one vacant position on the Burgeo Town Council, and as a result ask for permission to carry on for the rest of the mandate with only 6 councillors. So, you know, I really would try to encourage you to come forward and offer yourself as a councillor. If you're lucky and you offer yourself and you do get elected, you're looking at approximately 16 months, because I believe it's in October of 2005 is the next election. So, you know, you're not looking at a long time, and it's a time that you could get acquainted and see if you wanted to carry on further. So I leave you with this this evening. Think very seriously of offering yourself as a councillor in Burgeo. With regard to the playground, it's some discussion there. The town manager will be meeting with the Understanding the Early Years Committee, and it is hoped that decisions can be made with regard to the purchasing of some new equipment and upgrading of the playground, so that as soon as spring breaks, the equipment will be on site and we can have the playground in good shape for this summer. The arena, as you can see, any of you who've been up in that area can see that it's moving along quite rapidly, and I guess if things keeps going as it is, the tentative completion date of February the 17th, that's as far as the exterior and the shell. I would say that they'll be certainly hitting their target fairly close. The subject which took up quite a bit of our time at the meeting was snow clearing. And you know, it's quite a problem. I think we've all got to accept the fact that we don't live in Florida. We live in a part of the world where we do have winter, and along with winter comes snow and wind and snowdrifts. From the town council's perspective, we think that our men is doing an excellent job, and I think that is to be borne out in the fact that as you drive around Burgeo, or what I've seen anyway, you very seldom see anybody out pushing someone else's car or see anyone stuck in a snowbank. So, you know, that in itself indicates that the snow plowing must be fairly good. And in fact, I would put the snow plowing in Burgeo up against any other town in Newfoundland. I think the men are doing an excellent job filling in your driveways. They're doing it everywhere in every town. There's no other way it can be done. If someone knows how you can plow snow from the streets and not put it in driveways, well, then council is really receptive to what they're supposed to be doing. You know, you just got to look at this thing and realize that there's not a thing that people can do. You got fences on one side, fences on the other side, cars on one side, cars on the other side. There's not much that these operators can do in that regard. With regard to the main road, I guess you call it Centennial Street and Reach Road. Work Services and Transportation advises that they've now got a bucket, and they'll be widening that street. And with regard to that street, people are talking about, you see the town plows going, and they're plowing it also. Well, the drivers have been told that when they're transiting the road, going from one street to the other, by all means, if they see snow, drop their plow and push it off. So, you know, it's a give and take situation. Personally, we think the job is quite good, and you just got to bear with it. That's the only thing that I can say. I know one thing, the town manager advises us, that the biggest problem is the throwing of snow out in the street. If you throw it out there, you can be sure that the plow is going to come along and it's going to throw it right back. So, you know, we got to work together, and come June, the snow will be gone. That was about it for the meeting. We had invoices in the amount of $13,087 that was approved for payment. And there's just one other thing that I would like to speak about this evening, and that's, I guess, what they call to throw out a rose or a flower or something, and that is to Harrod's Home Eat. George informs me that he'll be taking delivery of his new truck this week. He certainly improved on the business out there on the point. He's done up the property, excellent, good parking, and now he's acquired a new truck. And he tells me there'll be no Ultramar on it, there'll be no Irving, there'll be no Western or anything. It'll be Harrod's Home Eat Burjo. And they're serving the petroleum needs of the communities of Grand Brit, Burjo, Ramia Grey River, and Francois. And it's a good news. It's a success story, and I personally would like to congratulate George on his business and wish him all the best with his home eating service. And that's it for us for this week. Thank you.
Stay with us for Off the Rack, the community events, and the BBS Playbill, all after this.
It takes community to heal a village. In northern Mali, USC Canada works with local partners to find community-based ways to ensure mother-child health, food security, and jobs. Canadian agencies are helping to renew and strengthen communities throughout the developing world. This means greater opportunities for global villagers. Canadians in partnership, finding solutions that work.
Off the Rack. This week, as we scanned our tape rack, we came across a tape of the minor hockey enjoying a hockey game. Let's look back to January the 10th, 1993. BBS Playbill. Try your luck on Wednesday by playing Burgeo Academy TV Bingo. On Thursday, we will have a video entitled Canadian Program for Responsible Fishing. And I'll be here again next week with This Week in Review. Please stay tuned now for The Bandwagon, which originally aired on Sunday, January 24th, 1999. For This Week in Review, I'm Marie Rose. Good night and God bless.